In previous news roundup videos that I've done, the format has been a little bit off. From my perspective at least, it's been, okay, so these are all of Michael Gamble's tweets, now we go on to John Warner, this is what John Warner said, now we go over to Matt Darrah. It's felt really boring and forced to make, so I wanted to sort of amp up the format a little bit more. We're going to be talking about the third ability slot that seems to be focused on support abilities, how reviving, dying and resetting works within Anthem, and also some news on weapon and customization options. And then we'll be finishing off with Matt Darrah's Twitter Corner. My name is Ryan Central and welcome back to another Anthem news video. Before I start, I only want to ask one thing. A lot of YouTubers do the whole like and subscribe, comment, feed my dog when I'm away, go get me Burger King, tell me how pretty I am. For me, I only want to ask one thing and one thing only. Subscribe. This is a growing Anthem YouTube channel, so if you are interested in the game in all of the news, the best way to do that and also support me personally is subscribing to the channel. If you don't like it, you can always unsubscribe, but that's the only time that I'm going to ask for anything in this video. The first bit of news is that there might be a live stream tomorrow coming from the Paris Games Week, as Anthem will be there. The tweet goes, tune in on October the 26th for our next AMAAAA, live from the Paris Games Week. Submit your questions now using the hashtag in English or in French. Jonathan Warner, who doesn't tweet anything by the way, it's very barren around there, says that we will be sharing some cool stuff from Paris. And Andrew Johnson, who is the community manager, said to submit your questions. So go over there onto Twitter, there is a link in the description. Submit your questions, we'll get those answers, and then maybe I'll make a roundup on the Saturday going over some of the bigger questions that were answered from that stream. I wasn't sure if it was going to be live streamed, but we do have confirmation. Twitch.tv/Anthem Game is where you can find it tomorrow. There isn't a time just yet. I'll update you all on the time in the comments below, so keep posted. Again, once we know, I'll let you know, okay? Next, I want to go over the fact that there will be a live stream of the game next week. In case you didn't know, we did cover it in another video, but it's so important, I felt it was worth highlighting again. Mike Gamble says, I think that myself and Ben Irving, I'm not quite sure how to pronounce his name, but they'll be doing a live stream on Anthem on Halloween. They're going to grab a random build and hopefully not crash. He then went on to edit this by tweeting a little bit later, saying it's going to be on November the 1st. So we will see our first bit of non-scripted gameplay, unless something's released at Paris Games Week, on this live stream, and I'm really excited for it. Want to drum up hype from you guys too. Next, I want to highlight this third ability slot and how it's got support options. To get everybody up to speed, Matt Darrah tweeted a couple of weeks ago now that in addition to your 2 guns, you also have 3 gear slots. For the Colossus, the Multi-Mortar goes into the shoulder, the Flamethrower goes into the arm, but there's still another gear slot that wasn't talked about. When questioned about it, he said that it's not the ultimate or the melee, as there are also gear slots, but it's not those technically. So you have 5 in total, the 2 ability gear slots that you use and see on screen, the melee, the ultimate, but also another one that hasn't been brought up. Iceman questioned Matt Darrah this week, saying that I was thinking what type of gear would be used in the third slot. And Matt Darrah says that the third active gear slot is mostly squad support things. And it's a really good example of an ability that was put on the EA website of all places but was actually taken down, fits this description. For the Ranger, it's called the Muster Point. An effective field commander, the Ranger is capable of creating a rally point which provides gear cooldown reduction to teammates who enter its radius. So the Muster Point is an example of one of those support abilities that goes into the third slot. It also seems that these are passive abilities potentially, as there's no UI feature that I've seen from previous gameplay with the Ranger or the Colossus that suggests that there's another ability to use. I've seen an example of this used, shout out to Rami by the way that pointed this out, from a developer talk a while ago that wasn't recorded, so there's no official source on this, that says that for the Colossus there is one to generate more aggro and threat that forces the enemies to attack you a little bit more than it would your team. And seen as you're a tanky target, that does make sense. So the third ability slot seems to be based on support abilities, but also maybe passive ones too. Chance asks if there's multiple different kinds of support abilities for each Javelin. For example, one Ranger would have the Rally Point, Muster Point ability that we spoke about, and another Ranger would have a laser designator that increases damage to a target, like a Hunter would have in World of Warcraft. Matt Darrah says yes. We'll use another example on screen. Here's the Thick Boy again, hashtag Colossus Club, hashtag Thick Guys Save Lives. And we know that the Multi-Mortar goes into his shoulder, we know that the Flamethrower goes into his arm, and then you have the other support slot, which could be, as an example, the threat generating one that I spoke about as an example, as I said, not confirmed, but maybe there is another one that means that you take less damage, and you could basically interchange them in that case. The next question has to do with what happens after we die. In Anthem. Let's not go over that topic here. But for Anthem, we do find out a good amount of information, and it all came from this tweet from Mike Gamble. He's been taking a couple more screenshots this week, showing how he's basically dead on the floor and been revived by his teammates. We get a good look at the UI and how it works. and a lot of questions were answered. For example, a natural one wanted to ask Michael Gamble whether you need repair kits, or will every Javelin be able to repair another from the get-go? And Michael Gamble says the latter. So you don't need a repair kit to keep your team alive, you just need to revive them like in any other game. On that subject, Sebastian asks MacDara, what happens if all 4 people die in the middle of a run? Do we need to go all over again from the start, or do we continue from a checkpoint? MacDara says checkpoints in strongholds and missions, other things ... so it's a little bit ominous. And another question followed up saying, do you get less loot? Did the enemies respawn or get their health back? And MacDara just says the enemies reset ahead of you, so if you're sort of partway through a dungeon, you've already gone past one checkpoint, you've killed, say, 50 mobs, you die, go back to that checkpoint, you have to kill those 50 mobs again. So I think that could be enough punishment. You dedicate resources, ammo and such, for example, ultimates, to fights, and if you lose them, you won't have them for the next one, so no punishment after that. On the subject of disconnecting, will you be able to rejoin? And MacDara says yes in a window. How long that'll be, I'm not too sure. And lastly, I want to go over weapons and customization. This mostly, again, comes from a Michael Gamble tweet showing us a picture of Zoe, but also his Storm in the background showing the full customization that could be used. Again, it's not a great picture because it was taken from a phone, but does give you a good example of the levels of customization that you can have on these Javelins, for example. On that subject, Ben is asked if there's going to be a way to design your own paint job on the Javelin, and he says you can customize your appearance using paint colors, yes. So that's how the gear would look, but how it would act is a little bit different. And was also asked how much diversity and variety will be in the weapons and gear. Will it feel like I'm getting lots of duplicates, or will each weapon feel unique and interesting in different ways? How rare is high-end loot? Ben says lots. No, due to different item levels, rare items will be rare, the rarest items will be very rare, which doesn't really give you much context, but it does show that they're taking loot and weapon uniqueness, I suppose, very, very seriously. MacDara says on that subject of personalization, some of it does need to be unlocked. And on the subject of weapons, Glenn questioned Matt, if you equip 2 of the same weapons, does each weapon have their own ammo reserve, or do they share one? MacDara says currently they're separate. Glenn comes in again and says, from what I take, each weapon will have their own ammunition reserve, aka use up all of one SMG and the other will still be full animation reserve. Am I right, Mark? And Max says right, which I think is fairly interesting. And just to reiterate, in case you didn't know, there's going to be melee builds for interceptors. Adam asks Ben if there's going to be some tanky builds with big swords or energy hammers. Ben says not for launch, but something to consider for later. And now we go over to MacDara's Twitter corner. These are in no particular order, but I do want to blast these fairly quickly. Will there be places to take cover and fire from in-game? Max says you can take cover, but it's not a cover shooter. Will there be friendly fire on in challenging strongholds? MacDara says not right now. God forbid if he decides that that's a good idea. Will there be boss fights? MacDara says yes. Is there crafting and collecting materials in Anthem? He says yes. Just to reiterate that they haven't set their minimum specifications yet for playing on PC. Once we know, I'll let you know. Will there be treasure chests in Anthem? Max says yes. Will I be able to change my thumbstick layout from default to legacy? Max says he doesn't think that they currently support that. Is Anthem region locked on PC? He says no, I don't think so. Honestly, good. I'm aware strongholds will not be soloable, but will world events such as the Ash Titan be soloable if one is geared enough? Max says in theory, so that is something that I'm definitely going to try at some point. Will the HUD in Anthem be customizable, color options for health bars, or be rearrangeable? Max says not at launch. Javito asks what is this? Max says flare. Is the flare an emote? Max says yes. You get a flashlight at the start of the game, so straight away, but you get the flare as an emote, which is unlockable. So you don't get that straight away, but you can unlock it. Will there be emotes? MacDara says, I mean, just yes. There will be specific support for color blindness. And just to reiterate on the emotes, the flare is kind of like wave or point in the game. Will there be in-game lore to the story and possibly a way we can access it all? Yes, I remember John Warner saying about a codex in the game at some point, which will be very useful. Will there be matchmaking for free roam as well? Max says free play will have others on the server, yes. Which is going to be pretty cool. If you're in free roam, you assault an enemy and then try and run away, the enemy will follow you for a little bit, but you can usually get away. Will Anthem have a trade system? Ben Irving says no. Will there be any settings to switch between first person or third person? And Max says no. It's going to be third person outside of Fort Tarsis and the Strider, but once you're in these story heavy areas, it'll all be in first person, just so you know. How do you get consumables? And Max says they're crafted, and that goes over everything in this video. Hopefully you do like this different change in format, sort of highlighting the more important stuff and then going over the smaller stories and little bits of information later. Do let me know if you like it in the comments below, but most importantly, do subscribe if you haven't already, if you enjoyed this video and watched it all the way through, and do subscribe for more content. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you guys very soon. Very excited to see what gets announced this weekend. Take care.